Welcome to our deep dive. We're going on a journey through texts about angels and giants and ancient wisdom,
You'll get glimpses into lost history and secret knowledge.
and how humanity has always tried to understand our universe and our place in it,
We're talking the Book of Enoch,
and the Zohar,
texts that explore good and evil,
the relationship between heaven and earth.
and the idea that ancient wisdom.
It's still relevant today.
It is. And what's so interesting is that these sources,
Yeah.
despite coming from different times and traditions, they're both kind of searching for a deeper meaning,
Okay.
trying to understand the universe and humanity's role.
Okay, let's unpack this. First, the Book of Enoch.
Yeah.
This ancient Jewish text that was condemned, lost, and then rediscovered. A bit of a wild ride.
Yes. And its controversial nature, I think, is key to understanding it.
Okay.
Both church fathers and rabbis rejected its teachings about fallen angels.
Really?
One church father even called it heresy,
Wow.
and a rabbi went so far as to curse anyone who believed it.
That's intense.
Yeah.
What was it about the Book of Enoch that caused such an extreme reaction?
Well, it depicts a world where angels aren't just these, distant, ethereal beings.
Right.
It describes them pleading with God, seeking guidance on how to deal with the lawlessness spreading on earth.
So angels are actually lobbying God on humanity's behalf.
Exactly. And it doesn't shy away from really vivid descriptions.
I bet.
Enoch describes this journey he takes to a magnificent house built of crystals,
Wow.
with a ceiling like the path of the stars, and fiery cherubim in between.
It sounds visually stunning.
It does, but here's where things take a darker turn. The Book of Enoch introduces these figures called the Watchers. These are fallen angels who, let's just say, got a little too close to human women.
And I'm guessing that didn't sit well.
You got it. Their offspring. The giants. And according to the text, they weren't just big, they were a source of major trouble. Incredibly strong. Destructive.
Wow.
Their very spirits were said to roam the earth, causing chaos and suffering even after the physical bodies died.
So these giants weren't just a physical threat.
No.
They represented some kind of spiritual corruption too.
That's the idea. They weren't just disobeying God.
Right.
Their existence challenged the very order of creation. They blurred the lines between the heavenly and earthly realms, which was deeply unsettling to both Jewish and Christian authorities.
Oh, I see. So that puts their condemnation into a new perspective for me.
Yes.
It wasn't just about punishing disobedience. It was about restoring a sense of order and hierarchy in the universe.
Exactly. And the text really goes into detail about how these giants afflicted, oppressed, destroyed, attacked, and worked destruction on the earth.
Not so gentle giants.
No, a force of pure chaos.
So these giants were a pretty big deal. But what about Enoch himself? What kind of person was he to be receiving these incredible visions and insights?
Well, even his birth was unusual. His own father, Lamech, was actually afraid of him because he was so different. The text says Enoch's eyes were like the sun's rays, and his countenance was glorious. Lamech even wondered if he might be the child of angels.
So basically radiating some otherworldly energy from the get-go.
You could say that. And this connection to the divine is further emphasized by how Enoch actually gained the secret knowledge.
Okay.
His grandfather, also named Enoch, was taken up to heaven and lived among the angels. It was from him that Enoch received these revelations.
Wow, so it's like a family legacy of cosmic knowledge.
Yeah.
But was this knowledge meant to be kept secret, or was Enoch supposed to share it with others?
That's a good question. His grandfather instructed him to declare everything to his son, Methuselah, and to show all his children that no flesh is righteous in the sight of the Lord.
Huh.
So there's this sense of passing on the torch, but also a message of humility,
Okay.
recognizing that even with this knowledge, humanity is still flawed in the eyes of the divine.
So it's not just about knowing the secrets, but about using that knowledge to live a righteous life.
Exactly.
But back to those giants for a minute. What else does the book tell us about their impact on the world?
Well, it gets pretty specific. It describes the giants dwelling in particular places, like a mountain range of fire that burned day and night, and mentions 7 magnificent mountains, each different from the others. The 7th mountain is described as resembling the seat of a throne.
So they weren't just wandering aimlessly. They had their own domain strongholds.
Exactly. And these descriptions likely reflect the awe and fear that these beings inspired. It wasn't just their size, but their connection to these powerful, almost supernatural places that made them so imposing.
It's like they were tapping into the raw power of the earth itself.
Yes.
Which made them even more dangerous.
And the Book of Enoch doesn't stop at just describing the giants and their dwelling places.
Okay.
It hints at their connection to something even bigger, the end of the world.
Hold on. The end of the world. That took a dark turn.
I know, right? But remember, we're dealing with a text that explores cosmic events and the battle between good and evil. So it's not surprising that it touches on such a weighty topic.
Okay, I'm bracing myself. What does the Book of Enoch say about the end of the world?
Well, it describes a vision of the earth being completely torn apart, with everything on it perishing. There's a very real sense of impending judgment, a reckoning for all that has transpired.
That's not exactly a cheerful prediction. Is there any hope offered in the Book of Enoch? Or is it all doom and gloom?
There is a glimmer of hope. The text does say that God will make peace with the righteous and protect the elect. They will be prospered and blessed, finding refuge amidst the chaos.
So it's not a complete annihilation.
Yeah,
There's a chance for some to survive the coming judgment.
exactly. And it gets even more specific. It mentions God coming with tens of thousands of his holy ones to execute judgment,
Wow.
destroy the ungodly,
Okay.
and convict all flesh of their ungodly deeds.
So it's not just about the physical world ending, but also a spiritual reckoning.
Pres-
A time for accountability for the choices people have made.
The end of the world isn't just about destruction. It's about the restoration of divine order and justice.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does Enoch himself fit into all this talk about the end of the world?
Well, the book describes Enoch receiving a very important message from God, delivered by the angel Uriel. God tells Noah to hide himself, revealing that a deluge is coming to destroy the earth.
So Enoch gets a sneak peek at the Great Flood.
You could say that. And he's instructed to warn Noah
Okay.
so that he and his family can be saved from the coming destruction.
Talk about pressure.
I know.
But speaking of angels, the Book of Enoch mentions others besides Uriel, right?
You're right.
What roles do they play?
Well, Enoch encounters 4 powerful angels: Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Phanuel. Each of them has a specific role and significance.
I've heard those names before. They appear in other religious traditions as well.
Exactly. In the Book of Enoch, Michael is described as merciful and long-suffering. Raphael is set over the diseases and wounds of humankind, offering healing and comfort. Gabriel is in charge of all the powers, representing strength and divine authority. And Phanuel is associated with repentance and hope, guiding people towards redemption.
It's like they represent different aspects of God's character and his interaction with humanity.
Exactly. And their presence in the Book of Enoch emphasizes that the events unfolding aren't just random happenings.
Right.
There's a divine order at work, a purpose behind the chaos.
Okay, so we've got angels, giants, the coming judgment. What else does the Book of Enoch reveal?
Well, this is where things get even more mysterious.
Oh.
The book describes Enoch's visions of the future and the secrets of the universe. He sees things like mountains of iron, copper, silver, gold, soft metal, and lead. He's desperate to understand their meaning. But the text doesn't give a clear explanation.
What do these mountains represent? Is there some deeper symbolic meaning here? It's like a cosmic scavenger hunt.
That's the intriguing part. The text doesn't give us all the answers,
Right.
but it hints that the universe is full of hidden knowledge waiting to be discovered. It invites us to grapple with these mysteries and find our own interpretations.
It's almost like the Book of Enoch is challenging us to think outside the box, to consider possibilities beyond our everyday understanding.
Exactly, and that's part of what makes it so fascinating. It pushes us to grapple with these big questions about the nature of reality and humanity's place in the cosmos.
Okay, so we've covered angels, giants,
Oh,
the
yeah.
end of the world, and mountains of mysterious metals. I have to say, this is quite a journey. But now I'm curious to learn more about the Zohar
Okay.
and how it connects to these ideas. How does it approach these same questions about the universe and humanity's purpose?
That's a great transition.
Yeah.
The Zohar, as we mentioned earlier, is a foundational text in Kabbalah. It offers a mystical interpretation of the Torah, delving into the hidden meanings and spiritual forces at play in the universe.
So it's like peering behind the curtain, uncovering a deeper level of meaning within the Torah.
Exactly. And one of the core ideas in the Zohar is that the world is composed of spiritual forces, represented by letters and names. Everything is interconnected, from the letters of the alphabet to the structure of the universe.
Okay, that sounds fascinating, but also a little complex. Can you give us some examples of how this works in practice? How do letters and names shape the spiritual fabric of reality?
Sure. For instance, the Zohar interprets the stories and characters in the Torah as metaphors for spiritual processes. So it's not just about reading the text literally, but understanding the deeper spiritual truth embedded within it.
So it's like decoding a secret language, uncovering the hidden messages within the Torah.
You could say that, and that's part of what makes Kabbalah so appealing to many people.
Yeah.
It offers a way of seeing the world that goes beyond the surface level, revealing a richer, more interconnected reality.
I'm definitely intrigued. Can you give us a few specific examples of concepts from the Zohar that might be relevant to our deep dive? How does it approach ideas like good and evil, the relationship between heaven and earth, and the search for wisdom?
Of course. One key concept is the idea of impure forces, which represent those egoistic desires within us.
Okay.
The Zohar emphasizes the need to purify these desires through spiritual practice, refining ourselves from the inside out.
So it's about overcoming our selfish impulses and connecting to something greater than ourselves.
Exactly. And it's not just about individual purification. The Zohar also describes this process of raising man, which is a spiritual request for correction of the entire world. It's a collective effort to elevate the spiritual state of humanity as a whole.
So it's a recognition that we're all interconnected and our individual spiritual growth contributes to the elevation of everyone.
Precisely. Another key concept is the tree of life, which is depicted as a map of the spiritual realms. It's a way of understanding the different levels of spiritual reality and how they interact with each other.
So it's like a guidebook for navigating the spiritual dimensions of existence, helping us understand the pathways to greater enlightenment.
Exactly. The Zohar also places great importance on Shabbat, describing it as a time of spiritual elevation and connection. It's a time to detach from the material world and reconnect with our spiritual core.
Okay, we're starting to get a sense of the Zohar's main ideas. But can you share any specific anecdotes or stories that illustrate these concepts in a more concrete way? I love a good story.
Of course. One fascinating story from the Zohar is about the letters of the alphabet presenting themselves to the Creator.
Wow.
Each letter argues that the world should be created with its unique properties.
Really?
It's a playful way of illustrating the idea that each element of creation has a specific role and purpose.
That's a great image. It's like a cosmic alphabet soup, each letter contributing its own flavor to the creation of the universe.
I love that analogy. It captures the essence of the story perfectly. And there's another tale about a donkey driver who represents a spiritual guide, helping people navigate their spiritual journeys.
Huh.
He's like a wise mentor, offering guidance and support along the path to enlightenment.
So it's like a cosmic Uber driver, but for your soul.
Huh.
Okay.
That's a great way to put it. And the Zohar also emphasizes the importance of prayer and intention.
Okay.
It suggests that our thoughts and words have a real impact on the spiritual realm. It's not just about passive belief.
Right.
We have the power to shape reality through our intentions and actions.
So it's a call to active participation in our spiritual growth, recognizing that we're not just passive recipients of divine grace, but active co-creators of our reality.
Exactly. And that brings us back to one of the key ideas we touched on earlier, the idea that the physical world is a reflection of the spiritual world. What happens on one level impacts the other.
Okay, that's starting to make more sense. So are you saying that the Book of Enoch and the Zohar, even though they come from different traditions, both offer ways of understanding the unseen forces that shape our reality?
Precisely.
And they both suggest that there's more to the world than meets the eye,
Yes.
and that we have a role to play in the unfolding of both the physical and spiritual realms.
Precisely. And that's what makes these texts so relevant, even today. They encourage us to look beyond the surface level and consider the deeper spiritual dimensions of our lives. They challenge us to consider that we're not just physical beings, we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
It suggests that our lives have a deeper meaning and purpose beyond just our everyday concern.
Exactly. And by exploring these ancient texts, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves, the universe, and the forces that connect us all.
Well, this has been an incredibly eye-opening conversation.
Yeah.
But we've covered a lot of ground. I think it's time for us to take a break and let everything sink in. When we come back, we'll delve further into the connections between these texts
Okay.
and what they can teach us about living a more meaningful life in today's world. Welcome back. Before the break, we were exploring the Book of Enoch and the Zohar.
Two texts that offer fascinating insights into these unseen forces that shape our world.
We journeyed through visions of angels and giants, the end of the world.
And even peeked into the secrets of the universe.
But these texts aren't just about ancient history or mystical ideas. They also have something to say about how we live our lives today.
That's what makes them so compelling.
Yeah.
They don't just offer information, they invite us to consider some deeper questions.
About ourselves, our purpose, and our relationship with something larger than ourselves.
Exactly. And it's striking how both texts, despite their differences in origin and style, they both emphasize this importance of living a righteous life.
Yeah, it's not just about accumulating knowledge.
Right.
It's about using that knowledge to become better people.
That's a key point, the Book of Enoch, with its warnings about the consequences of straying from divine law.
Yeah.
And the Zohar, with its emphasis on purifying our desires and connecting to a higher purpose.
Right.
Both of them point us towards a life of meaning and ethical action.
So it's not just about understanding the cosmos, but about aligning ourselves with the good,
Yes.
the pure forces in the universe, and striving to embody those qualities in our daily lives.
Precisely. And both texts acknowledge a higher power,
Right.
a force beyond our comprehension that governs everything.
Right.
A reminder that we're not the center of the universe, but part of a much grander design.
And that we can connect to that higher power through spiritual practice, through prayer,
Yes.
and living a life that honors that divine order.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes these texts so powerful. They offer a sense of hope and purpose in a world that can often feel chaotic and meaningless.
They remind us that there's more to life than what we see on the surface.
Yes.
There's a deeper meaning and significance to our existence.
Absolutely. And they encourage us to keep seeking, to keep asking questions, to keep striving for a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe.
So what does this all mean for us today? What can we learn from these ancient texts that can help us navigate our modern lives? How can we take these ancient wisdom traditions and apply them to the challenges we face in the 21st century?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
I think the key takeaway is the idea that we're not just physical beings.
Right.
We have a spiritual dimension that needs to be nurtured and developed.
It's about recognizing that there's a part of us
Yes.
that's connected to something bigger,
Yeah.
something beyond our limited human understanding.
Exactly. And that connection is a source of strength, wisdom, and guidance.
Yeah.
It's a wellspring of inspiration and support that we can tap into when we need it most.
It's a reminder that we're not alone in this vast and often confusing universe.
Right.
There's a source of comfort and connection that we can access when we turn our attention inward and seek that deeper connection.
And that even in the face of challenges, there's always hope.
Yeah.
There's always a path toward greater understanding and connection, even when things feel dark or uncertain.
I love that it's a message of resilience and empowerment, reminding us that we have the inner resources to navigate whatever life throws our way.
Exactly. Both the Book of Enoch and the Zohar emphasize the importance of seeking knowledge, but they also remind us that knowledge without action is meaningless.
So it's not enough to just read these texts and marvel at their wisdom.
No.
We have to put that wisdom into practice to embody it in our daily lives. But how do we do that? What does it look like to live a righteous life in today's world? The world has changed so much since these texts were written.
That's a great question, and it's one that we can all grapple with individually. I think it starts with cultivating self-awareness, paying attention to our thoughts, our words, and our actions.
Right.
Are we acting in ways that align with our values, with our understanding of what's good and right?
So it's about bringing that awareness into our daily lives.
Yes.
Making conscious choices that reflect our deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us.
Exactly. And it also involves cultivating compassion and empathy for others.
Okay.
Recognizing that we're all interconnected, that our actions impact others, and that we have a responsibility to treat each other with kindness and respect.
It's about recognizing the humanity in everyone, regardless of their background, their beliefs, or experiences.
Yes, and it also involves finding ways to connect to something larger than ourselves.
Okay.
Whether that's through spiritual practice, spending time in nature, or engaging in acts of service. It's about cultivating a sense of awe and wonder.
Yeah.
Recognizing the interconnectedness of all things.
It's about remembering that we're part of something much bigger and more beautiful than we can even imagine.
Precisely. And by nurturing that connection, we can tap into a source of strength, wisdom, and guidance that can help us navigate the challenges of life with greater purpose and resilience.
I love that it's a message of hope and empowerment, reminding us that even in the face of uncertainty and challenge, we have the inner resources to create a more meaningful and fulfilling life for ourselves and for others.
Exactly. The Book of Enoch and the Zohar are like ancient maps guiding us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and the universe.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to each of us to take those maps and chart our own course.
It's about taking that ancient wisdom and making it our own,
Yes.
applying it in ways that are relevant to our lives and our unique circumstances.
Exactly. It's about creating our own personal compass, guided by the principles of righteousness, compassion, and connection to something larger than ourselves.
And maybe, just maybe by embracing those principles, we can help to create a world that reflects that deeper wisdom and beauty that we glimpse in these ancient texts.
I believe we can, because ultimately these texts are about more than just knowledge or mystical ideas. They're about remembering who we truly are and rediscovering our place in the grand tapestry of existence.
I think that's a beautiful note to end on.
It is.
What do you think? Are you ready to dive even deeper into these texts and discover what wisdom they hold for you? We'll be back after the break to explore some key passages and discuss how you can apply these teachings to your own life. Welcome back. We've been on quite the journey exploring the Book of Enoch and the Zohar, uncovering hidden knowledge, and grappling with these profound questions about humanity and the universe. But now, let's bring it all home. What do these ancient texts actually mean for you, for how you live your life in the here and now?
You know, it's easy to get lost in the grandeur of these texts. Angels, giants, cosmic secrets. But the true power lies in how they challenge us to look inward.
You're right, it's not just about accumulating fascinating facts, but how this knowledge transforms us.
Exactly. Remember in the Book of Enoch how even the angels were concerned with humanity's behavior. They saw the lawlessness, the corruption, and they
Yeah.
pleaded with God for guidance.
It's like a mirror being held up to us, even back then.
Yeah.
The text is saying, look what you're doing. Are you living in a way that honors the divine order? Or are you contributing to the chaos?
That's a powerful way to frame it. And the Zohar, with its concept of raising man, takes it a step further.
Right.
It's not just about individual righteousness,
Yeah.
but about our collective responsibility to elevate the spiritual state of the whole world.
So it's a call to action. It's saying, don't just sit back and observe. Actively participate in making the world a better, more spiritually aligned place.
Precisely. And this idea of active participation, it can take many forms.
I bet.
It can be as simple as choosing kindness over anger, or as profound as dedicating yourself to a cause that uplifts humanity.
So it's about finding ways to embody these principles in our everyday lives, making choices that reflect a deeper awareness of our interconnectedness and our responsibility to each other.
Exactly. And the Zohar offers some specific guidance on how to cultivate that awareness. Remember the story about the letters of the alphabet presenting themselves to the Creator?
Oh yeah, each letter had its own unique qualities and purpose.
Right. It's a reminder that each of us has something unique to offer the world. We each have a role to play in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely. And by embracing those unique qualities and talents, by living authentically and expressing our true selves, we contribute to the richness and diversity of creation.
That's a beautiful thought. It suggests that living a righteous life isn't about conforming to some rigid set of rules,
No.
but about expressing our unique divinity in a way that benefits both ourselves and the world around us.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot, where our passions and talents align with a higher purpose, where our actions ripple outward, creating positive change. So if someone is listening to this right now and feeling inspired, but also maybe a little overwhelmed, like where do we even begin? What advice would you give them?
I'd say start small. Start with the things you can control. Your thoughts, your words, your actions.
Right. It's about being mindful of the choices we make each day, even the seemingly insignificant ones.
Exactly. Choose kindness over judgment. Choose generosity over selfishness. Choose to see the good in others. These small acts, multiplied over time, they create a ripple effect of positive change. And don't be afraid to explore. Both the Book of Enoch and the Zohar encourage us to seek knowledge, to delve deeper into the mysteries of existence.
Yeah. Read these texts, ponder their teachings, and see what resonates with you. There's no one right way to apply these teachings. It's about finding what works for you, what speaks to your heart and inspires you to live a more meaningful life. And remember, the journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. It's a lifelong process. There will be ups and downs, moments of clarity and moments of confusion.
That's the beauty of it. It's a constant unfolding, a continual process of learning and growth. And as you delve deeper into these texts and into yourself, you may discover that the answers you seek are already within you.
It's like these ancient texts are a flashlight, illuminating the path that was always there, waiting to be discovered.
I love that analogy. And as you journey along that path, remember that you're not alone. We're all in this together, each of us striving to make sense of this incredible journey we call life. And maybe, just maybe, by supporting and inspiring each other, by sharing our insights and experiences, we can help each other find our way back to that source of wisdom and light that resides within us all.
That's a beautiful vision to hold on to. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Book of Enoch and the Zohar. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and maybe even a renewed sense of wonder about the world and your place in it. Until next time, keep seeking, keep exploring, and keep shining your light.